I'll start it, mate. So Joe, thank you for coming down.
Yeah, no
mate.
worries.
It's great to see you again, pal. Obviously, you know, this has come about last week, really. For me, I mean, I seen you about, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago. Came into the shop just to get like a little gift card in her. So, but I was on my 5 miler, and I thought, right, who's my next guest? Who do I need in? And I thought, someone fucking powerful, mate. Someone that's gonna.
You thought you'd ruin your fucking weekend.
No, yeah, someone powerful. So, Joe, introduce yourself, mate, because you're best doing it than myself.
I'm a Cockney, now living in Manchester. I own and run Temple Tattoo Studio in Salemore in Manchester. I'm married, got 1 kid of my own, and a stepson who is in the army.
Fantastic.
And I've had a pretty fucking checkered life.
Yeah, so just for obviously people watching, Joe, I met you when I went and got my tattoo done with yourself and Abby back in 2014. So, you know, I wouldn't say I know you extremely well. We're not like best of friends, but we're casual friends. We let onto each other. You know, we have catch-ups every now and then. And you kind of made it for me because I was a shit house getting my tattoos done anyway. So 2 hours max. So it took fucking about 1.5 years to get this completed because I was scared of going back. And if you weren't there, then it was a different vibe.
Definitely.
And I'm not saying Abby's boring. Abby's not. She's great. But you were fucking, don't shut up, do you, mate? No. In a good way.
It's part of the service. It's part of the service, man. A lot of people say that. It's like, I'll chat to anyone. I will literally sit there and talk to anyone. And as you probably know, chatting takes away a bit of the pain and it makes time fly. And, you know, with the wife's got a few issues and she's a bit socially awkward. Yeah. So I'm like a buffer. So it's easy. It's easy for me. I don't care what I talk about, who I talk to. I'll chat to anyone. I'll challenge people, and people challenge me. But it just makes it a bit easier for the wife. Yeah. So.
But that's massive for her, though.
Oh, massive! Yeah, she struggles. Really struggles with customers.
What does she say it's like when you're not there?
Everything hard. I mean, in all honesty, bar tattooing, I pretty much run shop, home, everything. Socials. Yeah. Not to say she couldn't do it, but. With her issues, BPD, she's lived with depression or thought it was depression for 20 odd years. She's slowly coming off medication actually, but she's been living with that, and too much stress causes a problem, as you probably know yourself. If you get stressed, it magnifies everything. It does. And I'm pretty cool at dealing with shit. I mean, I'm not arsed, you know, it comes and goes. I've just got a speeding ticket from Spain because I've been with 2 mums. Which I won't be paying. That's not getting paid.
So I said it to you just before, it's like the camera, mate, like to not get stressed and not feel anxious or scared. Yeah. That's a fucking skill in a way.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's a superpower.
It must be something to do with my upbringing. I get the adrenaline rush like anybody else does if shit's going south. Yeah. But I actually enjoy it. I like the feeling. And that's a weird one. I think that's probably why I've gotten a lot of trouble and stuff like that as kids, because I've never been one. Although I was always the one at the back of a group, the group that was getting in trouble, I always stood at the back. I always had a sixth sense of something else going on, like, this don't feel right, so let's just... And I've always managed to roughly stay out of the big issues, but I've never been the sort of person to be like, no.
Just been around it, haven't you?
Just been around it, yeah. I've not I've been nicked a few times. I'm sure we all have as kids, you know, doing things. But it's only recently I sat down and spoke to the missus about my upbringing and stuff that did happen, and we were sat in the studio once, funny story, and she was like, yeah, you've done this and you've done that, haven't you? And I was like, yeah. And I was talking to a customer, and I said, yeah, we also broke into where I used to live down south, we broke into a military base that stores munitions and stuff. So there's me, 4 other lads. We ended up breaking in, getting over the fence, getting into the place, filling our pockets with live rounds, finding boxes of missiles and stuff. So we're having all this away. But at the time, it's where they do officer selection. So it's in Sandhurst. And they're all running. They've seen us. We've got sprung. Military police are chasing us. Luckily enough, I didn't get caught, but 2 of my boys did. So we were telling this story, and my missus was like, fuck off. Yeah. You've never done anything. Not believed you. So I just hit one of my boys up on Facebook, and I just read the message out when it came through. It was like, I cannot confirm or deny. If anybody asked me, I was never there and listed all this stuff. She was just like, shit, there's so much I don't know about you.
At least they were officers, mate. They're not too tough, them lot.
Oh, yeah, mate. They were fast, though. And we were only young, so... I think the 2 that got caught, house got raided. They both got charged with it and got out on license.
So what age was you at that point?
13, 12 maybe.
The house got raided.
Their house has got raided. But the guy who, one of the guys that was involved in it, his dad was fairly high up in the RAF.
Really?
So that didn't go down too good. So when they turned up at his house, he wasn't there at the time, it was just his mum. But when he got home, there was, bollocks.
So you mentioned, obviously, childhood then, so you're not a Manchester lad.
No.
I can tell by your accent. Okay. No. So where was you born in?
Putney, London.
Putney.
Yeah. Lovely now. Wasn't in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, real bad.
What was it like?
High rise. Horrible, man. Horrible. It's weird because when you're in this sort of stuff, you don't think about it. You know, when you're doing stupid shit or when you're being raised, you think everybody else's family are the same. It's you think it's normal. It's only, climbing on top of garages, breaking into cars. You think it's all normal because everybody else around you is doing it. Yeah. It's only when you kind of step out of that you start to see what it is. It was in a high rise, big high rises in a circle. Council. Mum and Dad worked. Was never there though. Literally never there. And we lived opposite our nan and granddad. Literally, we were on the top floor, they were on the top floor. So we used to spend...
So that's one high rise.
One high rise facing another... No, there was about 30 of them in a circle.
Wow.
So we just faced each other. So we used to get picked up by my nan and granddad from school, or if we were coming back from nursery, or whatever we were doing, we would stay there. And you just keep looking out the balcony until mum come home or dad come home, and then you're allowed to go round and get back in your house. Yeah, it was hard, man. No eating, glass, metal framed windows. It was proper hardcore. It was all three of us had got...
So what's mad, mate? I mean... London to me is like where I go once or twice every fucking 3 or 4 years or something, and obviously it's always like it's a capital city, so you expect, probably quite naively, but you expect glitz and glamour. Yeah. And then obviously you hear this, and shows like what's that gangster one now with all the
Top Boy and that.
Top Boy, right? Yeah. So I fucking love Top Boy. I think there's a new one coming out in a couple of weeks, right? Yeah. And you actually see it, and that's you can tell that's a true reflection of what life is like there. So
it was weird back then. It was like the biker gangs, it was punks and stuff like that we had in our blocks of flats.
So what year was that?
I was born 1980 in Roehampton Hospital, St Mary's, and we lived in the flats until the government rounded up all the scumbags and tried to get rid of them. So we lived in the flats until I was about 6 or 7. Yeah. Then we moved down the road, and my mum and dad managed to, with government help, buy a masonette. We lived in this masonette. And then I think on a government scheme, they moved us to Bracknell, which is about 15, 20 miles outside of London. And that's where I then started secondary school and stuff and X, Y, Z. But yeah, so most of the 80s I was living there. Drugs. I mean, the flats were heated by one boiler room. And in there was all the druggies. We had the old rubbish chute with the metal cast bins and that, and you had to go out on the land and put them in, stone stairs, old women bleaching stairs and stuff. It was hard, but it was good. I miss it. I miss London. Definitely miss London.
Do you miss them days though?
I don't know, like I say, it's easy to ignore and easy to forget, and you look back on your childhood also with halcyon glasses on, don't you think, rose tinted spectacles, it was good, it was sunny all the time, and everybody was happy, but
I think that's like anything. Like if I look back on, for example, my days in the Navy, all I remember is the good times.
Yeah, of course.
Piss-ups, this, that,
and I think the body does that, doesn't it? And I mean, that's part of Stockholm syndrome and stuff like that. Yeah. You push the bad out because no one wants to remember. But why would you want to dwell on the bad? I mean, when we were really small, I'm the youngest. So my sister's 47, brother's 45, I'm 42, nearly 43. So when we were small, and this touches on what we spoke about regarding Dad. When we were small, my mum said my dad was sound with us. He loved us, he hugged us, he cuddled us, and all the rest of it. It seems to be when we all started secondary school, started getting our own minds, that's when it went badly wrong. We were brought up with an iron fist as kids, as small kids. You didn't mess with your fucking dad, sort of thing. Yeah. My dad came from a fucking absolute shit show of a family. We didn't know any of my dad's side of the family. But then it's when we started started answering back more and started being a bit braver, sort of thing. 8, 9,
get your
10.
Own personality, don't you?
Yeah, get your own personality.
Your own view of the world. And
my old man had very strong views on life, kind of like I am now, really. And I think he wanted that to be imparted on us, 100%.
So when you say you were small and your dad loved you and cuddled you, what age did that take you from and to? Obviously, from being born up until...
We've had this discussion probably about 3 or 4, and then there was no physical contact with Dad. Bar violence. Every now and again, like, my old man was a big lad. He was a big guy. And, was well built. Never went. He's one of those that never went to the gym a day in his life, but he was well built. Always did like heavy jobs and stuff. He was a mechanic at London Transport on the buses, and then he became a lorry driver. But yeah, it was a weird one. It was like Mum said that, and I remember the story being told when my mum said, "Why do you never cuddle the kids anymore?" He said, "I'm here to father them, not to love them." And it was like you noticed it. You noticed there was no contact, and it was just stern from then on in. So. My mum said, we spoke about it recently with Mum. He's like, he was great. He was the doting, loving dad up until you all got to about 4 or 5 years old, and then he just disconnected.
Changed.
Yeah.
Did your mum understand why?
No, my mum still struggles with it now.
Is your mum and dad still alive?
No, they're both alive, but they're not together.
Yeah.
He cheated on her all through her relationship. But my mum was married, and she only recently told us this. We all knew anyway, but she was married before she met my dad, and she left her husband to go with my dad. My dad was a criminal, my dad was a ruffian, my dad stole cars, my dad was into all sorts. My mum said she remembers coming out of, I think it was Hammersmith Palais, and there was it might have been a Zephyr or something parked back. He's like, "It's my car." She's like, "Yeah," and that wooed her and all that. She didn't realise a few days later it was stolen. And he used to come out of pubs and they'd be like,
it's not funny, but it is funny.
Yeah, it's not funny, but it is funny.
As a lad,
yeah,
and especially what age would they have been then?
For my dad, when my mum and dad met, early 20s,
there you go, 20s. Yeah, you're still the boy, aren't you?
Yeah, of course you are. Yeah, and he was like that, and it's a lot like me. I think his personality and like my personality seems to attract the wrong people. Like I'm one of them. Don't go out looking for trouble. Don't do this. Don't do that. But I always seem to fall in and around the wrong groups. I always seem to attract the ones who are not quite straight-laced. Which I don't mind, because I kind of prefer being around people like that. That's there, you know what I mean? You know where you stand, and I can't be doing with this fluffing people's egos. You know, if I'm being an arsehole, tell me I'm being an arsehole, we'll square it away. Yeah. We'll sort it out. And my dad was the same. He seemed to attract all of them sort of people.
Okay. No, that's fine. I mean, so obviously your dad, one question actually, we'll go into your dad after this now, if that's right with you.
Yeah.
But when you heard these stories from your mum, was you listening to that and laughing about your dad stealing the car and your mum being moved by it?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Was you like, oh, what a dickhead?
No, I think one of the first real stories my mum ever told me. So where we lived in Putney, there used to be a shopping centre, and like a shopping precinct sort of thing, and all the shops up the top and the parking was underneath, and we got pictures of we had a Cortina estate. Mum's still got pictures of the Cortina estate, and I'm like, as I got older, got to maybe 15, 16, I'm like, "Oh, Mum, I remember it's mint that I'm into the cars and stuff." That's like, she went, "Yeah, remember the time those guys tried to break into it?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Well, you were in a pram, and Ross and Erin were walking around, and then your dad caught 2 lads breaking into the car." And I was like, "Oh yeah, what happened?" And she's like, "Well, he put both of them in hospital, and I think one ended up being in a wheelchair for the rest of his life, because he just doesn't fucking stop. He doesn't fucking stop." And go on.
Risky take though, I suppose, if you're going to go and do that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I haven't seen my dad since he went when I was about 11 or 12. My brother still speaks to him, and it's like he got in an altercation in a car not long ago. My dad's got to be 75, 76 now. And I think the last time my brother told me he was probably late 60s.
Yeah. And
he got jumped, and he got out, and I think 5 or 6 lads set about my dad. So from then on in, he carried an axe around in his car, and it's kind of like he went and found the lads. It's like, you're a fucking 65-year-old man, fucking sort your shit out. Do you know what I mean? But but it's, I've been, again, like when we were just talking a minute ago about counselling, I've been to counselling for my temper. I think it was going to get to the case where, and we'll touch on these stories in a minute, I was going to end up either doing myself or not getting done in.
Yeah.
And some of the issues I had at home as well, my temper at home around the missus, the way I acted around her.
Yeah.
And it got to crunch point, and she was simply said, "You need to do something, or we need to fucking end." It's as simple as that. So I went to counselling, and I was speaking about it and stuff like that, and we're just chatting away, and the lady was saying about it.
You're not tempted to just not do something?
Get off.
Party time.
Well, no, I don't know. I don't know. I have got an issue with.
Sorry, Abby.
I have got an issue with temper, and it was becoming evident. I mean, I'd been seeing Abby 2 or 3 months, and I had Jess with me. Jess was a baby; she was 2, and I was on my way to Rochdale. I was in my mum's car, a little Nissan Micra. She was up for the weekend with my sister. I was borrowing a car. And the Corsa hit the central reservation. I don't know what happened, blowout or whatever. They were slewing across the motorway. So I slowed down, let them go, and this wagon driver behind me gave me a load of grief. So I'm like,
as they do.
As you do, I'm like, what are you fucking doing, mate? So he's right up my arse. Got my toy in the car. So as we come off at Milne Row, I know where he's going because I used to deliver there. I used to be a lorry driver. So I've pulled up to he's tried cutting me up a few times, slamming his foot on the brakes, whatever. Pulled up to the gate, he's gone through the gate. I've left Jess in the middle of the thing, and I've just gone up and said, I need to know what depot he runs out of. I said, he's just, dangerous driving. And this girl's turned around and said, I can't give you the details. He's come around the side of the lorry. He's like, what's your fucking problem? I said, mate, you drive like a fucking arsehole. I've got my fucking 2-year-old in the car. He said, you fucking, we had this big argument. Anyway, I said, fuck off back inside. I'll get your depot number, mate, and I'll give your gaffer a ring and see what he thinks. So he's come out with in a lorry you have the thing you jack the cab up with. It's about that long, about that thick. So he's dragging it along by the side of the lorry, trying to intimidate me. So as he's come under the barrier, I said, mate, fucking put the bar away.
Yeah. He's
gone, why? So my daughter's in the fucking car. So he's gone to swing at the car. So I've took him down, fucking made a mess of the fucking idiot. Fucking...
What a cunt.
I know, what a cunt. I missed the next bit out of the story because the last bit is the funny part. Anyway, what happened. I ring the missus and I'm like, babe, have you just put that casserole on? She's like, yeah. I said, can you hear that helicopter? She's like, no, I put the phone up. She went, yeah. I said, it's fucking here for me. I think I'm getting nicked. She went, what the fuck has gone on? There was fucking 5 police vans, 20 coppers, fucking the ambulance was here, fucking helicopter was out, sergeant with the white bit on his hat was out. I was like, oh, fuck me. I just said to her, babe, you might have to come get Jess, I'm getting nicked. Coppers come over, fucking what's going on? Told him the story. He's gone, so when he pulled the bar out, what did you do? He says, well, I took the fucking bar off him and subdued him. And he went, subdued? We've just been on camera. He said, a couple of things. He says, why is the guy eye swollen? I said, oh yeah, I think I might have put my finger in his eye. He says, and also, mate, he says, I mean, you're right to defend yourself and everything. He's like, why is there a fucking bite mark out the back of his head? And all I could think about in my head was, don't knock him out, don't knock him out. So as I've got him, I've got my finger in his eye and I'm picking his head up and I'm just starting to chomp on the back of his fucking head.
Fucking hell.
And I've rang her and she's just gone, oh, shit. Yeah. Wait till you get here. End up ripping my ear, half my ear ripped and fucking all sorts. A few weeks later, I'm driving again, calls up to coming up at Whitefield in Manchester, guy's going into town, I'm going Bury, he's tried to come over, I'm in a fully freighted lorry, I can't just move, you can't just move these things, give me a load of shit. He's obviously gone round the roundabout, I've gone in a petrol station, got a Pepperami and a Yazoo, and he's come round the fucking wagon swinging at me, a lad in a builder's van, he's fucking swinging at me, kicking, punching. Luckily enough, a PCSO's driven up, seen it kicking off, got out, he's like, calm down. So I'm giving this guy warnings. I'm like, mate, fucking back off. And after about fucking 3 or 4 warnings, I've ended up swinging for the guy and fucking knocking him on his ass. I'm like, I've got to go. My gaffer would have been on my ass. He'd have sacked me. So I'll give the guy the PCS on my details. I said, mate, you can come and see me. I'm going to a place in Bury. Got to Bury, fucking phone rings. Police there. I said, all right, you've just been in an altercation. I was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, the guy's had to go to hospital. He's got to have rhinoplasty on his fucking nose. I'm like, oh, I'm so fucked. I'm sitting there and so fucked. She went, but the PCSO's corroborated your story and heard that you gave him all clear warnings to back off, please. Anyway, so fucking this kid's gone. And the copper ended up turning around saying, do you want to press charges against him? I'm like, no, I want to get to my job because I'm going to get nicked. But anyway, Abby was then at work. This is when we first started seeing each other, and she told her boss, Joe's probably going to get nicked against her. And he's like, Joe gets in a lot of trouble, doesn't he?
So what was she doing at this point?
She was still tattooing, but at a different studio. Yeah.
Right, okay, that's fine.
And then, put that together with all the shit that's gone on in between then. I thought it was about time to do something because I've been stabbed. I've had machetes put to my head in this lovely Manchester and Chawton. Just so many things, and it's like you can't keep blaming other people.
No,
you can't keep blaming other people.
I mean, I suppose, and this is for you to say, not necessarily me, but you said your dad, obviously, from the age of 4 or 5, it was very much, fists were involved. So
yeah.
So that's obviously a reason, isn't it?
100%.
I mean,
yeah, 100%.
Now because you're a grown
no, that's it. This is it. This is what the CBT and dealing with it and speaking to people about is like the lady I saw. She said, look, you can blame anybody you want. But at the end of the day, you make the decision to wake up and what you eat during the day. So you make the decision to behave a certain way during the day. And yes, I was brought up around violence. I remember having fights with lads on my estate and then losing, and my dad kicking my ass for losing. We don't lose. You're fucking embarrassment. I remember fucking putting on a bit of weight and my dad like fucking suck your gut and you're fucking embarrassing. Sort your shit out. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And yeah, of course that makes a thing. And it's like, I got in my head. Don't ever lose. Don't ever lose a fucking fight. No matter what you got to do, don't ever lose a fucking fight. So Bye. Oh, mate, I'll do anything. Back in the day, I would have done anything. I don't give a fucking monkeys. stupid things. I mean, it was mainly teenage years. Obviously, drink, drugs, and fucking doing all the rest of it. Me and my friends got in a lot of trouble. Stole cars, stole bikes, broke into places. Done a lot of fucking shit. But it was always there that the bravado, the fucking ego, the fucking alpha. You had to be the one in your group. And
Ego's massive.
Massive. Ego is
massive.
massive.
Recently, it's fucking huge.
Oh, huge, yeah.
It's just a word people use to try and, it's just his ego. But you have to understand what the ego is. The ego, if you allow it, will control you.
Oh, definitely.
Person, yeah.
I was discussing this, my daughter does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA and stuff, and was discussing this with a couple of the people there. One of them's a pro fighter, she's a woman, and she coaches my daughter. And it's like, the way she walks into the gym is like you would expect a guy to walk into the gym.
Seriously?
You know what I mean? Because she can fucking handle her fucking self.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's fucking badass. She's a professional fighter signed to a French fighting promotion. And, you know, she walks in, and the way she walks and the way she holds herself instantly says to any no-mark, I'm not to be fucked with.
Yeah.
And
that persona, innit?
It's the persona, the aura, the way you carry yourself, the way you walk and stuff like that. Yeah. And I suppose I do. You kind of dine out on that a bit as a bigger guy sort of thing, and you know people generally will stay the fuck away from bigger guys. But there also then are the lads that want to test bigger guys, and being tattooed and loud and cockney, and I've lived in Lincolnshire as well, and I got a lot of problems. That's where I got stabbed. You know, it's not a good idea to start on the hardest lads in the town. The ones that got the reputations, the ones that are always going to football matches. You know who you are. And
It'll surprise me,
you. Exactly. But this is it. This is what everybody says. And when I say I've been stabbed, well, I'm not surprised. You know, I've had machetes put to my head. Not surprised.
So how bad did it get with your dad, and what age do you remember? And again, sorry to sort of bring this up.
I've got no problems talking about it.
Right, okay.
I've been knocked out for breaking plastic plant pots. I've had my hand melted on a hot plate in an Indian takeaway. I've been run over.
By your dad?
By my dad. I've been uppercutted. Bearing in mind my dad went when I was 12, 13, so this is all before that. The big things, if I'd come home with a stolen car, I don't think he would have given a flying shit. But little things like playing football in the garden, you break a plant, you're gonna get fucked. There was the cane, the slipper, the spoon, even at the dinner table. There was no talking. There was no arms on the table. We weren't allowed to talk. If anybody started laughing, his plate would go against the wall and you'd all get it. Every one of us would fucking get it.
So you got a sister as well?
Got a sister.
Was she?
No, only when younger, and then it stopped. And this is the problem, I think, with me, my brother and my sister. It's mental with my sister and my brother. And I'd take a fucking pounding over mental any day. Mental gets into your fucking bones, doesn't it? I can take a fucking kicking. I've had me head kicked in many times because I'm a gobshite. But I think the mental thing's the issue. And although obviously he had an effect on my temper, my violence and things like that, I find it pretty easy to detach. I understand he had a terrible fucking childhood, a really terrible fucking childhood, and it's no excuse, but if he's been shaped by what has happened to him, then you can't really expect him to be any other way. Mid 60s, 70s, 80s London, you know what I mean? He's not just going to fucking pop up and be the greatest dad in the world. You know, his way of controlling it was violence.
You probably had a better upbringing than him.
Exactly. Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt.
What was his upbringing like? Was it violent?
His mum and dad split up. So for starters, they lived in Kilburn and Brixton. There's mixed race in the family. Him being brought up, his other brothers, I think there's like one of 15 or 14 or something. For a family to split anyway in 50s, 60s, London would be fucking bad. My dad was born in 1947, I think.
Yeah.
And for your family to split anyway, that was a fucking tag on your fucking woman. The woman was, you know, and then she got with another man and had my dad and this. So there was like split sisters. And like I say,
that just wasn't a norm in them days.
No, it wasn't. You fucking didn't fucking leave. And even so far as like my mum, you know, 80s London, you know, there wasn't the help for women to leave. So my
yeah, mum and dad stayed together, didn't they, really?
Yeah, mum and dad stayed together, regardless, through violence, through bullshit. I don't ever, and my mum said it, remember my dad touching my mum violently. Mentally, fucking without a doubt. It's got to be hard to watch a woman sit there and watch a fucking son get fucking knocked out, battered from pillar to post.
I'm just picturing that in my head, me doing that to my 5.
Oh, you would expect your missus to stick a fucking bat round the side of your head, wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
100%. Mate.
The hand burning issue was, we were in a Indian with my auntie and uncle. This was in Surrey, I think. And we all sat there, we were all dressed up. It was one of the rare times we went out. and there was my mum, my dad, me, brother, sister, auntie, uncle, a couple of other family. They brought the hot plates out when they served food. I went, Dad, is that hot? And he went, put your hand here and find out. And as I went like that, just put your hand up. He just went like that and looked at me and he went, now you fucking know. And I spent the next 2.5 hours as a... Yeah. I'd reckon I was about 6 years old, 5, 6 years old. The next 2 hours with my hand in there.
6 years of age.
And my whole hand from about there to there just blistered while I was sat there. And for everybody else. But everyone was scared of my dad. He was only about, I think he was 5'10", but he was fucking massive. And everybody knew his past. And no one said a fucking word. I didn't expect him to. My mum's fucking 5'1", a frail, tiny woman. My uncle, he wouldn't have said anything.
Uncle, dad's brother.
No, uncle. So it was my mum's sister's husband, even though they never got married. Yeah. He's recently passed away, but it was him. He wouldn't have said a word. He was an office guy, you know. He was a softish, you know. He was a yuppie, really. He was a 90s yuppie. My auntie wouldn't say anything, but none of my mum's family liked my dad because of the fucking way he was. And again, we were on a family holiday when he ran me over, and when my mum went absolutely berserk at him, his answer was, well, he can see a fucking car, he can move out of the way. I again probably would have been about 10. And literally smashed into me and went, I think he got to about here before he stopped. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so that, you know, fucking hell, mate. And I think, you know, there's a lot of this. This will be happening now. You know, probably not as much, but it's happening not just in London, Manchester, in every fucking city in the world. Yeah. This will be happening, you know,
and probably a hell of a lot more worse as well.
Yeah, and I think, you know, until obviously everyone knows now I've got a coach. You know, some people call it a life coach, whatever. You know, it is what it is. But he just helps me see things in a different light.
Yeah, definitely.
Gets me doing certain activities that make me, you know, view the world in a different way, and I get to just fucking jot things down. And the power of a journal is fucking incredible. Anyway. There's a lot more things like this now in our life. So I've got a lot of anger built inside of me, and I can fucking pop off and sometimes just want to fight the world. Yeah. And will happily do that with a smile on my face. But then I go, AJ, that's not you. Yeah. That's not the guy that you want to be. I don't want to be the guy that's fucking snapping at my son. Yeah. 24 hours a day. Oh, absolutely, yeah. And he gets, you know, I want a happy life and a successful life, you know, and nice things, and I want all that to come together and actually feel positive emotions. And I think the bad thing about, you know, my dad, my granddad, same with you, you know, your dad, your granddad, their generation didn't have the luxury. No, they didn't have it. Yeah, therapy, definitely. Life coach. Yeah, it's all well and good. This is the reason for this. Doing that thing again, like a lot of people now will judge back and say, oh, well, he could have done this, he could have done that. Well, what the fuck could he have done? There weren't support groups. Do you know what I mean? And he was brought up in a fucking area where you fucking fight for your food, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? How can you expect someone to live 25, 30 years of their life in one reign and then have change, but they have no way of changing? I mean, he promised he wouldn't do it many times to my mum. He promised he wouldn't cheat on her many times. He promised he wouldn't do this. But that's all he ever knew. So us looking back now and knowing what we know through our own sort of personal self-development, the guy was just in a rut and he was just on a merry-go-round. Yep. And I bet he fucking hates himself. Stuck in... I don't know if he does, you know. I don't know if he does. My brother still sees him. My brother's probably one of the hardest people I know. He used to box, but he's also the softest person. My brother would rather cry than fight. Yeah. My brother still sees me. He's forgiven. You literally couldn't get my brother not to forgive you. You couldn't do anything that he wouldn't forgive you for. And my brother wants an easy, quiet life. But again, I mean, I've got a bad temper, but not as much ability. My brother used to box, was amateur. Yeah. If my brother had my temper and his ability, fucking hell, we'd rule the world. Yeah. But he's a cry out. I mean, I've seen it where someone smashed into his car once, fucking when he had his kids in it, smashed all his fucking face in. And he's chased a guy, and while his fucking mum was there, while he's nailing the fucking shit out of this bloke, he's crying his fucking eyes out. You know, he hates anger, he hates confrontation. But it's funny because we seem to both be mirroring my dad. Years ago, we were supposed to be going on holiday, and we used to live near Blackbush Market, and they used to sell counterfeit goods and stuff. So we used to go there before holidays, get all your feeler t-shirts and stuff. Yeah. And as we're going down the road, this guy's pulled out and overtook about fucking 8 bikes wide. Hit mirrors. The mirrors hit my dad in the face, hit my mum in the face. Glass has gone all over us kids. We're all in the back of the car. The old man's Uwe'd the car around, gone back, and he's gone through the window. He's going to kill this kid. He's going to kill this guy, sort of thing. And it's just like, it was like watching a fucking caged animal. I mean, literally, if he couldn't get the guy through the window fast enough, police turns up. My old man obviously gets nicked. Goes to hospital. He's got, like, literally, all of that was cut open where the mirror hit him. He's got about 8 pieces of glass. And I mean, they weren't shards. They were fucking squares of glass in his eyes.
He's destroyed the guy's car. I mean, the guy made a fucking dick move overtaking him. But it's like, as a kid, when you get used to seeing that, and I've seen that many times, I don't even flinch. I didn't even flinch when he used to do it. You know, you'd sit in the back of the car and fucking whatever. You know, fucking most people have been fucking absolute. That is dooms. That is
screaming.
End of day shit. But it became a fucking everyday thing. An everyday thing.
So your brother's older than you?
Brother's 45, yeah. So there's two and a half between me and brother, and then 2.5 between my brother and my sister. So there's 5 between me and my sister. She's getting on now.
Yeah. Cool. So where is he? Still in London, your brother?
No, he lives in Lincolnshire.
So obviously, you know, you told me ahead of today, you moved away from London to sort of, you know, get away from all the bullshit and all the issues and the trouble. So is that where you went, Lincolnshire? Yeah,
my mum, we moved to Bracknell, which is just outside of London, and then when my mum and dad split up, my mum couldn't afford the house anymore, got herself in a fucking shitload of debt. He pretty much cleared the house out and fucked off. Didn't do anything. He's never paid a penny for any of us. He's never fucking contributed. He did when he was dad and living there. You know, he was one of those old school men. Check to the mum, fucking couple of quid. Never really drunk, couple of quid to get his paper or whatever. But yeah, when he left, there was nothing. So, I mean, I think he even went in the fucking loft and took all my mum's Rolling Stones and Beatles records. The fucking cheeky cunt. And he cleared the place out, fucking whatever.
Worth a fucking lot of money then.
Worth a lot of money now, yeah. Left my mum with just a basic sofa, fucking TV, whatever else. And my mum got in more and more debt. And then the girl my brother was seeing at the time, dad sold a massive fucking house in London, wherever it was. Moved up to Lincolnshire and bought like a massive farm. My brother's like, it's mint up here, it's quiet. You can get a mansion for 15 grand, which you literally could. I remember buying my first house.
What year was that?
Fucking hell. With my ex, I bought my first house when I was 18, so 98. I think me and my ex paid £11,475 for a house. But yeah, my mum moved up there to get away from all the debt. He chased her, and then me and my brother fucked off the fucking debt collectors, but she had to go bankrupt. And then when we moved to Lincolnshire, I then found my feet, I was a mechanic, found my feet, started knocking around with some lads, and then inevitably, as always with me, get in fucking trouble. I end up. It was a fucking totally stupid story. A friend of mine grabbed this girl he knew from school. Her boyfriend thought she was grabbing her to get on with her. He's come over and kicked off. My mate's not a fighter at all. Looked at me with this absolute sad desperation in his face. So I'm like, well, I've fucking bingoed a few boys, got in a scrap, got fucking outside. There's been bottles, glass involved, knives, all the rest of it. Fucking thought, yeah, whatever. A few months later, they've come to my house. Fucking big gang of them in a van. All we want to know is who did this, who did that. I'm like, fucking hell, I'm going to get my ass kicked here. They know where I live. And then months and months after that, I'm in town. We're about 25 strong at someone's birthday. And someone's come over to me and said all the boys are out. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And it's literally Lincolnshire is fucking 70 pubs in 1 square mile. So sooner or later, you are going to bang into them. And I just remember being in one of the only like 1 or 2 nightclubs. And I'm just fucking stood there drinking. And I've got my back to the main door. And I'm looking at all my boys. And all of them just looked at me and went, they've just turned up. I'm like, we're good though, lads, aren't we? There's fucking 15 or 16 of us. And every one of them just turned their backs and scattered. I thought, fuck. And here we go with the ego thing again. I thought, in for a penny, in for a pound. Lad's come over to me and he's just gonna think you can fucking bully people, bully me. Nutted him, kicked off, bottles smashed. I'm on the floor half unconscious. It felt like someone had thrown water on my back. Gets up, gets outside, fucking doorman's like, mate, fucking, there's blood everywhere, you've been stabbed. Fucking hell, been stabbed, fuck me, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, gets that all sorted.
The adrenaline, though, flying through.
Oh, mate, fucking hell, yeah, you're buzzing, aren't you? You're going...
You push a train over, mate.
Yeah, it's literally the morning you wake up afterwards. Luckily enough, it wasn't a fucking serious stab wound. I think it was one of it might have been a Swiss Army the lads jibbed me with.
Yeah.
It didn't do anything, I think I fucking stitched the fuck up myself, glued it up myself, sort of thing. So it weren't serious, but...
Patrick Swayze on Roadhouse,
mate, you got to do it. Probably got it off of that, in fact. But yeah, then from there on in, I was with my ex a long time. We moved to Peterborough, which is just round the corner. And then I just had enough, and my sister had moved to Manchester. She qualified in law and started working for a law firm. I've been up a few times. She used to live in Didsbury. And I remember just sitting there and I just said, I'm fucking done with living in like Lincolnshire, the Fens and that is shit. Where are we going? I went, fuck it.
So how many years in Lincolnshire?
Fucking hell, from 19 till about... From about 17, 18 till about 22, 23, I think.
Yeah, so like 5 years, 6
4 or 5 years, yeah.
So then obviously came to Manchester then.
Yeah.
Land of the gods, they call it, mate.
You've
been here a bit longer than 5 years, haven't you?
Yeah.
You must like it. You must like it.
Yeah, fashion.
I won't be offended.
Fashion's weird, isn't it? No, I tell you what, when I first moved to Manchester, it was a nice change. It was, it's still, like a lot of people say to me about London, about down south, everybody's rude. I find Manchester getting the same as it's getting bigger. I find it's very, when we used to be in Didsbury, you go in a pub and people talk to
you.
Yeah. All of my sister's flatmates, or that, like, she lived in a big house in Didsbury on Palatine Road, but everybody was happy, everybody was friendly, and there was, pubs were, but as it gets bigger and bigger and more cosmopolitan and more metropolitan, or whatever the words are, with people coming more diverse, I think it's getting ruder and ruder. I mean, we used to go on the blue bus coming home from Didsbury, and you didn't talk to anyone on the blue bus, but if you were on a stagecoach, you were sound.
Yeah.
No, I mean, get on a tram now. No one talks to no one, and it's getting a lot like it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not precious over Manchester, mate, at all, but I think that's just generational.
Of course, yeah.
Technology.
Stuck in the phones. Yeah, stuck in the phones.
Every fucking Tom, Dick and Harry, mate. And look, I can't fucking say out because I can be the same, but I'm aware of it. If Ronan comes in from school, or if I come in from work and I'm not seeing him, the last thing I'll do is get on my phone until he goes to bed, because I'm aware of that, and I don't fucking judge people for it, because you can't, can you, I suppose, but I think it's just generational, mate. No one's asked anymore. No one knows how to communicate.
No one does know how to communicate.
It's like you said before this, like, what's your idea of doing this? And I suppose, I don't know, mate, there's many reasons, obviously, but one of the reasons is because if I wasn't sat here having this chat with you now, I'd be probably in a pub somewhere getting pissed off, thinking I was having a great fucking time, and realistically, mate, I probably wouldn't be, and I'd fucking wake up tomorrow feeling like shit. And at least this way now, I get to have a fucking great catch up with you.
Yeah.
Fucking people that are following get to know you, and at the end of the day, you might push out a little bit of the Temple Tattoo Studio as well.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
But at the end of the day, you get to tell your story. I get to fucking understand it a bit more, and it's just all part of a journey, mate, that I'm on.
Yeah.
Now, and
see,
you're on a journey as well.
I dig my heels in a little bit with the. It's not a case of, like you just said a minute ago, people do things and you're not dicking on anybody for doing things. But my missus suffers quite badly with issues, and some people want to talk. Some people really just don't want to fucking talk. Lost a few people, suicide and stuff, close to us, friends, family, friends of family and stuff. I mean, I had, when I was years back, when I was growing up, a friend of ours, killed himself over a girl. But more recent,
deep, isn't it?
Yeah, big time. But more recently, last few years, someone we're friends with who started out as a customer we're friends with, his nephew killed himself. And he went to the doctors, he went to therapy, he tried talking to everybody, and it was just like, I kind of go down this route, and this might alienate a lot of people that are on that we need to talk thing. It's like suicidality is going up in men massively, teenage girls. Depression is fucking through the roof. So the way I see it is something's going wrong somewhere with how we're dealing with it, and I'm not 100% sure talking is the right way. Because let's be honest, talking to me or you, a couple of fucking lumps, We're not really, I mean, we can do this part of it, can't we?
Yeah, of course.
But if you want to talk, get proper help. We've got a customer that comes onto our place, obviously I won't mention any names, I'm friends with him now, lost his mum, sepsis, I think it was 5 hours between getting ill and dying. His missus then have to give birth to a stillborn baby. And he said, I thought I had it handled. He come out of the gym, fucking wanted to start on some lad. He said he didn't want to punch some lad, he wanted someone to hurt him. He said, I wanted to feel some fucking pain. And he was sat there, and this guy's a fucking monster, he's a boxer. He's a fucking 7 foot tall. I mean, this kid's intimidating. I think he's only 23, 24, but he's massive. I'm like, but you can do some fucking damage, mate, you're a big fucking kid. And he was like, I know. I was like, fucking speak to someone. Go and speak to someone. Because talking to me, I might be able to stay there and say, get some fucking help or fucking check your shit. But when you actually need to talk to someone, and this goes back to me doing my CBT and speaking to people and fucking, it's like she said to me, the girl that I went to, it's like, what's your level of anger today? And I'm like, well, I'm fucking bubbling. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I've just got here, I'm bubbling.
Yeah.
And she said to me,
that's actually triggered me there to say something. So
part of the problem is you take on other people's shit.
Yeah, you do.
And we had an issue outside the studio a long time ago. I went to cross the crossing, and fucking 2 lads blew through the crossing, nearly hit me and my daughter. Anybody else would turn around and see fancy Audi, 2 fucking skinhead lads all decked out in the gear. Stay the fuck. I've gone through the car. I'm fucking going stupid.
Yeah.
And it's because of Jess. But then I look out and I'm literally in the car. And I remember looking up and seeing Jess, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
The fact Jess is there will fucking times that by 100 anyway.
Exactly.
But even if Jess wasn't there and it was you on your own,
exactly,
you still responded like that.
Exactly.
I probably would.
And it's like, she said to me, how do you know something hasn't happened to one of the members of those kids' family that day? How do you know they're not dealing with something really bad? And all they've done now is give you a slap, unloaded their pressure, their house onto you, and now you're going to carry it around for the rest of the day. And it's like, that really has stuck with me. It's like, you got your own stresses, and I bubble under the surface most days. But it's like when someone comes into our place and they're a complete dick, you know, I've got to the point now where I'm starting to laugh. It's just like, whatever. You know, you're not going to come in here and give me your shit as well, mate, because I'm dealing with my own stuff. So it's kind of like, and that's kind of what she talked on.
I said it to the missus just before I got this coach, because I needed to do something, because I was in a place, and I'm talking 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I was just in a place where nothing was satisfying me. Yeah. Everything was pissing me off. Yeah. And I just wanted fucking something to go off. I wanted something to go off to fucking feed something, you know? Totally. And I said to her, let's imagine there's a fucking bar, right? 0 to 100. I start my day at 80.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Every fucking day.
Every day.
So if I'm get on the drive, everything's cool in the morning, I'll come off my drive, and the fucking lollipop lady is taking too long in the middle of the fucking road chatting to some cunt, and I'm trying to pull off and I'm late for work, then I'm fucking at 99 straight away.
Already,
and it's fucking 8, half 8 in the morning.
And then it's not any subsequent person's fault after that.
Yeah.
And this is what the girl used to do. She used to draw a cup. And like every time I'd go in there, Monday morning, 10 o'clock, she'd be like, how's the weekend been? Anything you want to talk about? We'll talk about it. She'd be like, right, where on the cup are you? I'm like, right this minute, after 10 minutes talking to you, I'm probably about 6. She's like, where were you when you walked in? I'm like, I'm at 9. So then silly little things like the missus leaving a towel on the bed is enough to make me fucking boil over. Yeah, or Litland not getting a fucking school bag done right, so she's late for school. That's enough to boil over. And then you're then for the rest of the day, you're fucking pissed off at something.
It's mad, isn't it?
It is. It's fucking crackers, and it is mad. It is mad.
It's because it's like same thing. Ronan in the morning. If I'm doing a school run, then it's my responsibility to get him out on time, etc. And the kids dawdle. Every fucking kid dawdles. I did.
It's getting worse. Yeah.
Every kid dawdles, right? So I'm watching it, and I'll ask him 6 times to put his fucking socks on. 4 weeks ago, that had blown my head off in a room a day. Yeah. This morning, same situation. Of course, Saturday today, we don't have the same, bullshit and that need to be in places. But I just helped him do it. Yeah. Because it was quicker. Yeah. And he can put his socks on, but he just can't be arsed. He's fucking 5. Yeah. And I thought when I was 5, I couldn't be arsed. Yeah. So, and this is what getting help does to you. So, you said before, someone coming to talk to a couple of fucking lumps like me and you, it's going to help to a certain degree.
Of course.
We might get them to fucking realise that it's not just them. And that's a good thing, because we've never had this conversation before, and how many conversations we had over the years. Yeah. More so back in the day, but, I never would have thought me and you would be having this conversation face to face, but that's life, isn't it? And it's a good thing. But, like you said, everyone's saying we need to talk more. Let's have it right, mate. If I'm fucking moaning like fucking my own head and I'm fucking depressed and anxious and I fucking want to kill myself, because we've all had them thoughts of I want to kill myself. Everyone has, in my opinion. I have. I've never done anything about it. Don't necessarily think I was ever going to do it, but I've had the thought of I don't want to fucking be anymore. I can't be arsed with this life, mate. It's fucking shit. I want to die. Yeah. I've said that. Yeah. I text that to my mate. It's a Saturday night. It's a Monday morning. It's a Wednesday afternoon. What's he going to say?
Exactly. Shut up, you cunt. That's it, isn't it? It's exactly as it is.
Until I go and do it.
Yeah. Oh, and then See, this is what I find.
If it had spoke to me,
yeah,
I'm not gonna fucking speak to you.
This is what I find with all these adverts on telly. Like you've got the one where the guy stood by the edge of the railway station. And it's like, oh, mental health and depression, and the girl comes up and she's like, hey, are you okay? Have you ever tried talking to someone who's in the throes of a fucking depressive state? They're likely to rip your fucking head off, or they're likely just to blank you. Yeah. And this is what I mean. It's like
at best you might get told to
fuck off. I honestly think the way of doing that is of course I'm sure it will help some people, but we need to find another way to deal with it. We need to go to the root cause, because I like going on about fucking if we touch on things like modern day now, so the Andrew Tate situation, the this, the that, the other, we need to say to men it's okay to be an egotistical alpha male narcissist. But you've got to learn to do that in the right way. Yeah. We paint alphas.
You've got to coach yourself.
Yeah, we paint alphas and we paint narcissism as always a bad thing. The girl I was seeing when I was doing my stuff, she said to me, I said, I'm just angry all the time. And she went, well, anger's not bad. You know, anger is something that's been built in us in our DNA to keep us out of trouble, to keep us aware. You know, and we need to stop.
Anxiety
we need to stop. We need to stop demonising.
Mechanism.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the missus when she's like, "Oh, I get really anxious about something," and I'm like, "How do you feel?" She's like, "I've got this feeling in my gut." I'm like, "I like that feeling because I think it keeps you a bit sharper and makes you." You know, you double check everything.
Depending on what you're anxious about, it shows you care.
Yeah, of course.
I was anxious before you coming here today. You know, why? I could fucking list reasons.
Yeah.
But the reason is that what I think is because I care.
Yeah, of course.
I want it to go well.
You want it to be right.
You know, I want you to feel fucking comfortable. Yeah. You know, I want to feel like I'm relaxed, I can ask questions. Then I'm thinking about, the people that are watching it, I hope it gets enough fucking attention.
Yeah.
All this bullshit at the end, I just thought, fuck that, put my music on, pretty louder than when you came in. And I was fucking fine.
Damn right,
you just got to tell yourself, sort your fucking self.
I mean, I say this to the missus a lot. Like, she struggled with what was thought to be depression for most of her life. From her son, she was, you know, fucking the dad wasn't about after getting her pregnant pretty much, and being 19 and having a kid. You know, all her friends going on the girls' holidays. She literally missed out on her life. And you know, when back then you go to the doctor, telling me feeling this, feeling that, hey, I'll try these tablets. Well, to me, that is completely the wrong fucking answer. You know, I do prescribe to the way Tyson Fury is, with the fact that fuck the tablets, man. Train, eat well, have a direction. Because if you sit and mope, that's when the bad thoughts start. As we all know, like, there's been plenty of times, like you say, when you go out drinking and you sit there the next day and no one's in the house and you feel rough as fuck. You've ate shit, so your body's not working right, and your dopamine and endorphins, and you sit there and you're like, I'm a fucking piece of shit, me. What the fuck did I say and do last night? Then your mate messaged you, do you remember slapping that lad? And you're like, oh, what the fuck?
That's the worst fucking thing.
And that's it. And then, do you remember when you said this? Or do you remember when you did that? You were a fucking arsehole to her last night. And you're like, oh, fuck me. And then you just start hating on yourself.
Yeah.
A tablet isn't the fucking answer. It really isn't the fucking answer. I think there's a time and a place for it, but it's not the fucking answer. No. And
just gonna pause there, John, to need the toilet.
Yeah, go
so I'll let it out, mate. But, one sec. Just getting into the fucking good bit, that's why. Right, so straight back into it, pals. Yeah, so tablets then for fucking depression. Anxiety. Oh yeah. Before you carry on, happened to me in 2014 or 15, around that era. Antidepressants.
Yeah,
I think I took them for about 4 days, and I felt fucking awful, man.
Yeah.
I felt numb.
Foggy as fuck.
Foggy. I I felt like I wasn't living properly. I just felt fucking like I can't even explain it, mate. I didn't feel right. I couldn't fucking sleep. You know, I think at one point I couldn't get a fucking hard on for a period of time. I've done it like 3 different occasions, 3 different sets of pills, and at that point I thought, fuck that.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Definitely, man.
But go on, mate. So, you know, what do you think? It's controversial because I think it's what's in the fucking water, mate. It's what's fucking fed to you in school.
Oh, without a doubt.
It's the process. It's the media.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said, like we discussed off camera about Jordan Peterson. I understand why women are neurotic. I mean, they've got so much to protect.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to his talk in Manchester recently, and you know, from the age of about 14, 15, they have to worry about boys and attacks and the fact that boys are all of a sudden fucking twice their strength. I mean, to talk about that, my daughter, when she trains at jiu-jitsu, she has to roll at the end of jiu-jitsu. And there's a pair of twins there, lads. And up until 6 months ago, she'd dominate them. She's a big girl for her age. They're 1 year younger than her. She'd dominate them. They went away, they've come back. They're now nearly 6 foot, deep voices. And she got a rear naked choke on one of them, and he literally just grabbed her hand and went like that and just threw her off. And I just explained to her, now the testosterone kicked in, now you see why girls have to be so fucking careful. And, you know, like going back to what Jordan Peterson was saying about being careful, but the fact that they then...
Powerful lesson if I hear that.
Oh, massively.
That'll
huge.
resonate with her.
I hope it does. And like you were talking about media, I think we're doing a disservice to young girls massively. When you see all these woke films about these 7-stone girls beating the shit out of 50-year seasoned war veterans, and you know they're riding bikes and they're doing this and doing that. Girls can ride motorbikes. My missus used to ride trials bikes. She can ride a motorbike as good as anybody else.
Yeah.
But when you're selling this story to young girls, and I think this is why we're seeing the rise of like domestic violence and girls thinking they can put hands on men. Now, at no point should anybody be putting hands on fucking anybody. I'll be a greatest advocate of that. But at the same time, you know, it should never come to that. But girls being sold this story that they can match us physically, they literally cannot. I mean, again, I was talking about this with a girl at fighting, and it's like she said, you know, to an average guy, she's okay, she can handle herself.
Yeah.
But to someone who's slightly bigger than her, who's got any idea about fighting, and she's one of these. She's, even though she's only young, but she's quite aware. She's like, I don't stand a fucking chance. She goes, I would never try and ever.
She knows the situation.
And she knows the situation. She's done defence classes with girls before, where they go, you know, I'll just punch a guy in the face. And she's like, yeah, you try that and see what happens. I says, you know, most 90% of women don't punch hard enough to affect a bloke. Yeah. And then you don't want what's going to come back. And it's like, as we see, I mean, you can see it on enough stuff, World Star, hip hop and all this, where girls put their hands on men and men just fucking bingo them. You know,
happens, mate, yeah.
And this is society telling women that it's okay, firstly, to put hands on a man, and secondly, that you can compete. And you can't compete. And it's a terrible thing, like you say, going back to these, you know, all these conspiracy theories recently about certain things are all funnily, you know, working out that they're all coming out in the wash, aren't they?
Someone would say to me that you are a conspiracy theorist.
Oh, without doubt.
People would say that to me. Like, AJ, you are a conspiracy theorist, yeah? And I fucking hate the word conspiracy theorist because the truth?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
The truth.
Yeah, it's weird, yeah.
Just because I'm not fucking stupid and don't believe everything that IT fucking V1, you know, ITV1, I was going to say ITN, that was a few years ago, but, you know, even like family members of mine fucking swear bad in
Oh, yeah, swear bad, yeah. Can't imagine anything else.
Me, yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know enough of the conspiracy theory to sit there and fucking battle with for 45 minutes. Yeah. You're different to that, you know, because you will spend your time, and maybe that's the difference in our age. What's between me and you, like 8 to 10 years, something like that. But as I'm getting older now and I'm fucking parking the drink and I'm reading a lot more, and you get a little bit wiser.
Definitely,
as you get older,
definitely. I've got a few of my mates that have stuck their head in the sand for their whole life, sort of thing, and you know, like, why do you bother? I'm like, well, because I don't find interest in doing certain things anymore. So I read about stuff or podcasts or, you know, listening to multiples of people talk. It's so much better than living in that little echo chamber.
Opens up a door.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And then another door.
Unfortunately, sometimes you went down the wrong rabbit hole. But yeah, most of the time, even the wrong rabbit hole though, it's good to listen to completely different ideas.
Open yourself up to different
theories. Like, going back to the tablet thing, like I was saying, Mrs. unfortunately, a few years ago, was going to commit suicide. And we went to see the raid team at Withenshaw. And, you know, the guy there was sound. He was brilliant. And he just said, look, there's a big difference between writing out a suicide note, getting some tablets out, and actually doing it. He said, how far along were you? And she's like, well, I had the note wrote, and tablets were ready, and stuff like that.